This is the Sick'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. The Sick'em Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Katie Smith and the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sick'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. John Morris, Katie Smith, and it's been a rough week weather-wise. Ice, off school, off work, work from home, a couple of days this week. Work from home.
Work from home.
Let's
Everyone
make that
work
point.
from home.
Yes, but it's clearing up, and by golly, look on the horizon. It's softball season beginning next week.
It's softball season. I was asking Britni earlier today, are you guys going to practice in this? It's horrible out there, and it is supposed to get up to 50 degrees, we think, this afternoon, which I'm just like, how? But I'm excited about it.
You mentioned Britni. That's our guest, Britni Sneed Newman, pitching coach, associate head coach for Baylor softball. Welcome to you. Thanks for being on with us.
Yes, thank y'all for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. I commonly say Britni Sneed Newman, and does Josh get upset about that? Is he okay with that the Sneed kind of lives on?
I think he's okay with that. We've been married 16 years, so
Yeah,
I think
right.
he's good with it at this point.
Yeah.
But
He's not like harboring all this anger towards J-Mo.
I know. That's why I'm
No.
asking.
No,
You
he's
can
good.
be straight Britni Newman if you prefer, but the Sneed carries a lot of weight in the softball world, right?
It does. This is what I've been doing a long time, so it's there. But you can say either one.
Yeah.
Especially in Louisiana, it carries a lot of weight.
Yes, it
Yeah.
sure does
Yeah.
in Louisiana.
So, Britni, you were, like J-Mo said, this absolute rock star. I mean, every step of your career, right? In high school, in college, now in the coaching level. But talk a little bit, let's go back a ways. So, grew up in Houston, right? And then went to LSU. What drew you to LSU at the time?
Yeah, so grew up in the Cypress area, the northwest side of Houston, graduated from Cy-Fair High School, and kind of back at that time is really when a lot of the softball programs were being reinstated. And so that I really fell into an amazing opportunity to be able to play college softball when I did, because it was coming back around, and thankful for Title IX, of course. And but Coach Moore recruited me, started watching me play when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
And so he was at LSU when I signed and went there. And so it was really kind of neat that I've known him, more than half of my life.
Wow.
So he is really a family member for me. But so I went there and played under Coach Moore for 2 years. And then he left after my sophomore year and came to Baylor. And so I finished out my career at LSU and then came over to Baylor.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
It is a great story.
Cy-Fair High School, right?
Cy-Fair.
Okay, where my wife graduated from also.
What?
Yeah, Cy-Fair.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
So I know right where it is. We drive right by there. I say, do you want to go back to a high school reunion? She says, absolutely not.
What? You'll have to say Bobcat fight never dies.
There you go. I'll throw that
BFND.
out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Cat fight never
Yeah,
dies.
BFND. I love that. She said that. She just went straight back to it. It
love
was
it.
so natural. BFND.
What about the recruiting process? Obviously, LSU wasn't the only school that recruited you.
Growing up in Texas, being a family person, I really wanted to stay in the state of Texas. And so growing up, I know it's going to break everyone's heart, but growing up, I really wanted to go to Texas A&M.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, our tones were different.
I know. So
I thought you were going to say UT.
No,
I know, it was kind of-
no. So, that didn't work out, obviously, but definitely was looking at all the options here in Texas, and even Baylor at that time, just knowing how amazing institution Baylor is, the academics here was a big part for me too. But when I went on my visit, I took some visits, and when I went on my visit there and just saw the commitment to the stadium that they were building and just the fan support, I wanted to pitch. With a big crowd in the stands.
Yeah, that was it.
And so I felt that would be there. So
You mentioned playing for Coach Moore a couple years there. So was he there your junior and senior season?
my freshman and sophomore.
Your freshman and sophomore.
Yes, so
and
he
then,
recruited me. And
Okay.
then I went there for my freshman and sophomore.
Okay. And then you transferred?
No, so I stayed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I stayed at LSU.
He transferred.
I'm trying to get my timeline right.
Yeah.
Okay, so he left, and you were there freshman, sophomore year.
Yeah.
So then, when he brought you to Baylor, what did that conversation look like?
That was awesome. So I felt like a recruit again. Even though I had graduated college, I came back and felt like a recruit again, and just saw again the commitment that our stadium, Gutterman Stadium, beautiful stadium that it was, and just being back in the state of Texas was really exciting for me. And then, I think one thing that makes Baylor so great are the people, and I felt that even though I've been here for 20 years, even coming all those years ago, it was the people that really made this place seem like home. And so it was a no-brainer to come to Baylor.
Very cool. It's good. It's our fortune that you came here.
Yeah.
Coming out of college, great All-American career, twice a finalist for USA Softball Player of the Year, and more recently, Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That is great. That speaks to your great career in college. And Girls and Women in Sports Day was earlier this week. Along those lines, what options did you have to continue playing after LSU?
Yeah, so I was invited to continue to play, be a part of the USA program, and then there was, there were some opportunities then, like there are now, but more now than then as far as playing professionally. Obviously, I decided not to play professionally and just go on into being a college coach. But.
Gotcha. Good deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things I love about Britni, but one of my favorite things about you is you look at her bio and it's just accolade. I mean, things that are just no one does, and she's done all of them. And then you talk to her, and she's the most humble person you would never know. And so you're going to hate this question, but does it, when you're coaching your student athletes and they know of this kind of history of success that you've had, do you think that is an encouragement to them? Do you think that they're kind of able to glean off of that, or what's that been like from a coaching perspective? What's
funny is I think as coaches, we sometimes assume that our athletes know our track record or what we've done. But humbling enough, there's been a couple players that have asked me, like, so where did you play college?
Oh, come on.
And I'm like, okay, yeah. So let's get to know each other here.
Send them to us next time. We'll be like, let me sit you down.
But, I think it's in my experience, there's just a really cool level and line of respect, and just the athletes wanting to be coachable and just really wanting to soak up anything that they can get from their coaches, from me, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. They're kind of like, wow, everything she's coaching me must be true because she's done it. I love that.
And when that clicks in with them,
she does know.
You did that. That must be an epiphany moment for the pitchers. That is really cool. But we're glad you're here. And if you weren't going to continue playing after college, which obviously you'd made that decision, were you headed into coaching? I mean, you wanted to go right into coaching.
I did. I wanted to go right into coaching. They always say you kind of know in your heart when it's time to be done playing. And physically, I was still in top shape and maybe should have kept going. But I made the right decision. In my heart, I knew I was ready to kind of transition and move on and really just start pouring back into the athletes just as I felt coaches did to me my whole life. And that's really why I chose the coaching profession, and just to give back and to help continue to grow our game. And so it was easy to make that transition.
21 years later, here she is.
That's amazing.
Still here at Baylor, which is great. Does that seem wild? This your 21st year here?
Yeah, it's gone by so fast.
Yeah.
I just cannot believe that I get to still do what I get to do, and being at Baylor, and the support is just amazing, and I'm just very thankful.
That's awesome. You mentioned that relationship with Coach Moore, and you even called him a family member. So what are maybe one or two things for people that don't know him as personally as you do that make him such a special coach?
Yeah. So he knows the game in and out. He the IQ of the sport. I mean, he is just so intelligent, and it's so natural for him to coach. But I think the other thing too is how much he truly loves his players. I mean, he can, get on and say what he needs to say and push a little bit and, get them going. But he truly, genuinely loves the players. And, being on the other side, I get to be involved in the meetings and get to really hear his heart. And, he's good at what he does. And he's just a great man.
That's awesome.
And the continuity of your staff has been really big. I mean, Hoot is there now, but don't want this time to pass without mentioning Mark Lumley, who you and Lum and Glenn were together for 20 years. No, not quite 20 years. How long?
Let's see, about 18
maybe.
years. Yeah. And Coach Lumley was also at LSU, so he was there when I came in as a freshman. There, he came in his first year coaching. So it really just goes back.
That's cool. And isn't it great? I don't know about you, but I think this is probably right. When you mention Lum's name, you just get a smile on your face, and we just still miss him, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We miss him so much, and we still talk about him just about every day. Yeah. Even going out recruiting, and you see certain fields that when you see a certain thing, it reminds you. Or Lum was known to be a ball magnet, and so we would always joke. We were in Colorado recruiting, and I remember Coach Moore was like, "Hey, see that tree over there by that field? Remember that time he was sitting underneath that tree and a ball just happens to tinker down, hits the tree and tinkers down and happens to hit him right on his head, Like, what are the chances of that happening?" But he was just always a ball magnet, so we get laughs out of those moments.
That's pretty good. Great memories.
Yeah, and I love hearing that just kind of speaks to his legacy, right? That y'all are still talking about him in the locker room or on the field every day. And so the idea that recruits that won't maybe come for 3-4 years know who this person is and the impact that he's had on y'all's program. That's really cool to me. One thing I was thinking about was when you are recruiting and you kind of are trying to bring people to Baylor, like what is it that you really kind of cling to as this is what makes Baylor softball different?
Yeah. So I think, again, just our camaraderie we have amongst our staff, how long we have been doing what we do, the experience that we bring. But I think what makes our program unique, Baylor unique, is just the Christian mission too. That's a big part of our program, and we don't hide it. We're not ashamed of our faith. And so the recruits that come, they know what we're about. And yes, we want to win, and we're building champions for life as our motto, but also there's an eternal impact that we have with our athletes, and that's important.
It's awesome.
I love that. That's great. And Hoot fits right in with that, too. We talked about Lum, but now Hoot, Steve Jonigan, your other assistant coach, he just fits right in, doesn't he?
He fits right in. I'm telling you, when you lose or haven't gained, but we lost Coach Lumley on this earth a couple of years ago, but in a lot of prayer, trying to decide who takes that position, and it is a no-brainer, no doubt. God just moved Hoot right in, and he is, everyone that knows him loves him, and so he is just the perfect fit for our group, and so thankful for him. He keeps us laughing just like Coach Lumley did, and is very knowledgeable and wise, and so he's a perfect fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tuned into the Sikkim Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. I've had the privilege of calling games, telling stories about Baylor athletics for a long time. Storytelling is an art, and there's a network in town doing just that. Rogue Media Network has produced over 80 original podcasts and shows ranging from comedy, true crime, business, and sports. If there's a story to tell, Rogue Media Network is telling it. You can find this podcast and all the other great Rogue Media Network shows on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And, Britt, talking about recruiting, in these days of the transfer portal and NIL and things like that, I mean, every sport, even yours, softball, has changed, hasn't it? And how is your world recruiting, and not just recruiting, but re-recruiting student athletes these days?
Yes, it is a whole different world for sure. Talking with Katie a while ago, we were sharing scouting and looking at teams that we have coming up and used to, there would only be 3 or 4, maybe 5 new people, freshmen that, you kind of knew from recruiting, their tendencies, but we kind of need to wait and see them play before we really have the full scouting report on them. But, now I was looking at our first tournament and all the teams, and, it was common to see 11, 12, 13 new players with, maybe 4, 5, 6 freshmen, and then the rest are all transfers.
Yeah.
And so, just trying to track down where they came from, all the stats on them. But it's a whole new world with transfers. We've our team this year, we have 5 transfers, and they've been such a blessing, such a help to our team and fulfilling needs that we needed. And so it's been a positive thing too, but it is crazy, all the transferring and moving around.
Yeah, it certainly changed those scouting reports. I mean, you think about they were pretty involved before, and now there's all these players that are new that you don't recognize. And when you think about transfers, a lot of the time they're coming in and they're having dynamic roles early on. And so you're really trying to build that scouting report. So kudos to coaching staffs everywhere that are building these out. But J-Mo also mentioned NIL. How have you seen that affect kind of your team specifically?
Yeah, NIL. So I think we just had a meeting yesterday about another opportunity for our women to look into. But we do have some players that are seeking some opportunity and getting some extra income through NIL. But and I think they're trying to figure out, like, who do I contact? How can I do this? And I know Baylor is helping with those types of opportunities. And so I think it's just still so new, but trying to get some more opportunities for our women. So.
Yeah. And I noticed just yesterday, y'all probably know this, but on our website, BaylorBears.com, one of the front page landing pages is specifically about NIL and contacts.
Oh, nice.
And if people are listening and interesting, you can go there and get more information. So it's here to stay. I think it's not going away, and we're all sort of learning on the run about NIL.
Yeah, that's a great point. When you were saying it's all so new, it's kind of the first thing in a while that there's not this framework you can look at. Oh, this is how they used to do it, and this is how it got better. No one's been doing it for all that long, and so, like
legally.
You said, it's so right legally. It's so fair that students are asking these questions and trying to figure that out.
Good deal. Your season is right around the corner. As we mentioned at the outset today, February 10th, you open a tournament in Las Vegas. Open there, and then a long string of home games. Where are y'all practice-wise with your season opener? Well, as we record this, 1 week away.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had the cold weather come in this week, and thankfully, we took 1 day off. But thankfully, having the indoor and even, having the turf on our outfield, the outfielders have been able to get out for a small amount of time. It's been so cold, so can get out there 20, 25 minutes and take some fly balls and read some balls off the plate and stuff like that. But we really haven't missed a beat, thankfully, to the Getterman family and getting our indoor for us. It's been nice and warm in there, and so that's been good. But practice is going really well, and we will leave next Thursday to fly out to Las Vegas, and excited to get the season going. Our team is ready. We've scrimmaged each other, just enough to where we're like, okay, we're ready to compete against somebody else.
Right.
So, but it's been really good, and we talk about the scripture in Proverbs, iron sharpening iron, and we've really taken that as one of our main verses, and truly trying to sharpen each other, help each other out, not just competing against each other, making each other better, but if you notice something like pitchers, if I'm tipping my pitch, or if you see my changeup or something like that, having that accountability and that communication line where you can come up to me and you can tell me, hey, I see your pitch, and just building that trust with each other. And so that's been another, I think, really great part of our practice is competing against each other and competing for that starting position, because we do have 22 players and only 9 play, but then truly helping each other as well. So that's been a good thing.
You mentioned how everyone's kind of ready to see another opponent other than each other. And so what's kind of maybe some of the opponents, obviously every game matters, but that the girls have been extra excited for that are on the schedule this year?
Yeah. Well, the first game is a big game.
Yeah.
We're excited to just get out there and compete. Southern Utah didn't have a good season last year. That's who we open up with. But, we are really trying to focus on, Baylor and what we're doing and how we need to get better and everything that we've been working towards and just taking it a game at a time. But this year, Coach Moore put together, he does our schedule every year and put together a tough schedule, a great schedule. So we've got a lot of top 10, top 20 opponents in there, several big SEC schools. We'll see on Sunday, next Sunday, we will see Arkansas, who's won the SEC, and they're always a top team. So talk about sharpening, that we'll kind of know where we're at right away, and it's good to face the big ones right away.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How about that schedule? 5 games in, I guess, 3 days, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Las Vegas to open.
Yeah.
Pitching-wise, how do you feel about opening with that flurry of games?
Yes. We're ready.
Yeah.
Our arms are ready. We've been just grooming them, pushing them a little, giving them rest when they need it, just to have them ready for this tournament. But yeah, it's the start of the season is the grind because you play so many games in a short amount of time with the tournaments, and then once we get to conference, it spaces out a little bit. But I'm excited.
That's great.
Yeah.
Tell us what's your pitching staff look like?
Yes, so we have all of our pitchers returning from this past season. With the addition of a freshman, Riley Crandall. She is from Artesia, New Mexico, and she's a hard thrower. Her ball moves like crazy, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for her. She's got some big things coming her way, and she's ready for it. And then we picked up a transfer here, mid-transfer, mid-semester from Iowa. And she's going to help us, give us, some extra innings as well. But as far as returning, we have Dariana Orm, who's our hard thrower, California. She's doing well. And then we also have Aaliyah Benford, who was spectacular for us in the NISC last spring in Colorado for competing for that championship. And, she just has a stellar changeup that is so hard to do anything with, and because she can throw, upper 60s, which is, not comparable in baseball, the 90s reaction time. So she throws upper 60s, and then she can throw like that 45-mile-an-hour changeup in there, and it really gets hitters off balance. And so, and then we have a sophomore, Casey West, coming in. She's little, but she's mighty, and she's a bulldog out there. And she's somebody, when the game's on the line, you want her out there. So those are the 5 pitchers that I have, and love working with them. Great athletes, great people, and I'm just excited that we get to spend a lot of time together here coming up.
Do I remember right that Dari last year, like she didn't finish the year healthy, did she have a split? Like in the web of her fingers, between her fingers? Is that right?
So a freaky thing.
Yeah.
We were at the Big 12 tournament and just taking some BP before the game. And Dari wanted to just get some reps in over at shortstop.
Oh, gosh.
And, the ball, she was reading the ball off the bat, and it took some hops on the dirt and took a weird hop. And so she kind of threw her hands up to protect her face, and the seam of the ball just happened to kind of rip the webbing here in between her middle finger and her ring finger. And she ended up having to immediately go get stitches. And so
season over
season
right there.
was over for her. Yeah, so that was a really, really weird thing.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Aaliyah Benford. She had to really carry the load, didn't she?
Aaliyah, she did. We finished the Big 12 tournament and then ended up deciding to play in ISC, and she pretty much carried the load there. She did outstanding. So
that's great.
Yeah, you mentioned that trip to the NISC and how they're there were definitely benefits for the team. So what kind of did that help? In what ways did that help you guys grow?
Yeah, benefits so great. So I just want everyone to know listening that, Baylor softball, the expectation is NCAA. The NISC is a new opportunity for our sport. And when we barely did not get into the NCAA, we asked the team, got their vote, and wanted to know where everybody was. And we had a majority vote yes. And so we made the trip, and I'm glad we did because like I was saying earlier, we only had 2 seniors. We have a lot of freshmen that did not have any kind of postseason exposure experience. And so they were able to get a little bit of postseason experience. And also we were able to get, I think, like 10 additional incredible practices. And but what was wild about it is it was pushing 100 degrees here. And then once we got to Colorado, there was some kind of like northerly storm where it was like snowing. And so we went from extreme. So we were thinking, we're prepared for the heat. We're ready. And then we had this weird snow thing go on up there. But it was a really great experience. And, we were all, when everyone got there, everyone was all in, and we're like, we're here. We might as well win this thing. And so we had really good team chemistry, and they all came together, and we won the NIC.
I think you as coaches and the team did a really good job of having the right mindset there. If we're there, we might as well win it. Because I understand there were some other teams there that didn't really care about being there. But you made the most of it. You got the championship, ended with a positive experience, and hopefully that carries into this year.
We did. We feel like it really catapulted us, into our fall season. Since we only did graduate 2, we had most everybody returning, and I feel like it was a really positive thing for all of our young girls returning, and had a really good fall working out, and so we're excited for the spring.
Good.
Yeah, I think that speaks so highly to the character of your team too, that they said, we're disappointed. We wanted to be in the NCAA tournament, like you said. That was y'all's expectation, and they still said, no, we want to practice and we want to get better. And I'm excited to see kind of how that comes to play in this year's postseason.
Me too.
Yep, very good. All right, season is right around the corner next week. Open at home on February 17th. Got a ton of home games. Interesting, talking about your schedule, I see Oklahoma pop up as a non-conference game.
Yes, John. We get to play Oklahoma pre-conference.
I like that. Get to play
Oklahoma.
Get to play.
That's
great.
To
play.
Yeah.
So, again, if we're going to go fight them, we're going to fight the big ones right away.
Yeah.
And so that'll be another good opportunity for our team to play.
Part of your, you've got the Gatterman Classic as a home tournament. You also have the newly named Ode to Joy tournament, which is great. A tribute to one of our former mascots who passed away.
Yes, we had to do that.
That's
nice.
My
goodness.
That is so good.
To tribute her.
Good. We've got to include, Dakota Farquhar Cadell on campus? He works with the Bear trainers. He works in student activities.
Okay.
And I'm going to make sure Dakota knows about this and knows what y'all are doing to pay tribute to Joy.
That would be great.
I promise you, he'll tear up when I tell him. I know.
We're excited.
Yeah.
Maybe we bring Dakota on the podcast and tell him.
Oh, absolutely.
Get a live reaction.
Yeah, we're going to have a video and really try to set the tone.
So cool.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Her.
Lady had a birthday this week.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Lady.
Yeah, that's great. All right, February 10th, season opener. February 17th is your home opener. Ton of home games, as I mentioned, in a stretch there when you open at home.
We're gonna be spoiled because having all of these home games, we're excited. Again, we want our fans to come and support us. I know the weather might be kind of weird, February, but hopefully it'll be nice. In Gatterman Stadium, because of the turf, it does warm up a lot inside there, and as well as the backing of our stadium, it blocks a lot of that northerly wind, so it doesn't feel quite as cool over there in Gatterman Stadium as you would think when you walk out of your house. But we have a lot of great opponents coming up that we get to play at home, and we really, need some fans in the stands to cheer us on.
Right.
All these home games help with your other full-time job of being wife and mom to 2 boys. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yes. Okay. So, Josh, my husband, we've been married for 16 years. We actually met at LSU whenever I was a student athlete there. He was a student manager on our team.
Aww.
And so we were just friends at that time, just friends.
May the record show.
Yes.
We were just friends.
We were just friends. But yes, we have 2 sons, Bowen and Brooks. Bowen is 10 and Brooks is 7, and they are baseball guys, football guys. So they love sports, and they're going to be playing baseball this spring too. So they'll be kind of in and out at our games.
Oh, that's so fun.
Very fun. And am I right? Is it Charlie Brown?
Our dog?
Yes.
Our dog's name is Bear.
Where'd I get Charlie Brown?
Whose dog's name is Charlie Brown?
I don't
Someone's
know.
is. You
Somebody's
couldn't have made
name.
that up.
Somebody's really
name.
cute dog.
Oh,
His
that's a
name's Charlie
good
Brown.
dog name.
Bear.
Bear's a
is
great dog
great.
name as
Yes.
well.
I've seen
Yes.
Bear.
Yes,
I
you've
like
seen
Bear.
Cute.
Yeah.
What kind of dog is Bear?
He's a lab.
Yeah.
He's
Classic.
a lab, and my youngest son, Brooks, named him.
Oh,
So
Nice.
Bear.
he named him Baylor Bear Newman,
Oh, formal.
Yeah.
but goes by Bear.
Of
To friends
course.
and family, he's
Yeah.
just Bear.
Yeah.
I love that.
On the birth certificate.
Yes.
Baylor Bear Newman. And who
Cute.
is Charlie Brown? I don't know.
Bonus points for anyone who can tell us if
Text
they know
me
a
if
dog.
you know where Charlie Brown came from. All right, we're going to let you go back to work, and it is warming up, and maybe the sun's coming out. So I hope y'all have a great practice today, and good luck getting the season started.
Thank you, and thank y'all for having me on the show.
Great
Thanks
to
for
have you
coming.
with us.
And as always, sick on Bears.
Sick 'em Bears.
I like it.
Have you been looking for a new podcast to listen to? Are you interested in true crime, funny one-star reviews, or inspiring stories? What about the history of Waco or the famous people who have lived and worked here? All these and more are produced by Rogue Media Network. There are over 80 different shows, including this one, with more coming all the time. If there's a story to tell, Rogue Media Network is telling it. Watch on YouTube or listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, a lot of fun.
So
Going to be
much fun.
outdoors with baseball and softball. So softball really the first to kick off, but in Las Vegas, February 10th. Tournament
Yeah.
there, 5 games in 3 days. Then home on February 17th. And baseball opens that same night, February 17th at Baylor Ballpark. So it is almost here.
It's almost here,
It'll be great.
which is crazy when we talk about the week kind of being shutting down
Yeah.
because of ice. And they're just like, here we are.
Yeah.
We're going to play.
And
I
this is
love it.
Texas. I mean,
This is
think about the
Texas.
advantage we have here compared to other
Right.
parts of the country, too.
That's such a good point.
Well, we appreciate Britni Sneed Newman being on with us. For Katie Smith and Charlie Brown, I'm John Morris. Thanks for being with us. That's this week's Sick 'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network.
You've been listening to the Sick 'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. The Sick 'em Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics.